Try to imagine this. You're a rich merchant in the year of 200 BC and you're traveling overseas on your fancy ass ship. And then there was a big storm and your ship got shipwrecked in the middle of nowhere. What would you do given the situation? Well, in the year of 200 BC, exactly this happened, and a man chose to pick himself back up, walked across the street into a bookstore and grabbed a random book from the bookshelf, and he was Xenophidium. Before jumping to the philosophy itself, let's learn a little bit about Zeno's backstory. So, Zeno was born in the city of Citium. His father was a merchant who traveled often, and naturally he took up his father's profession. At the age of 22, while stranded in Athens after a shipwreck, he picked up a copy of Xenophon's Memorophilia. And was so impressed by the figure of Socrates that he abandoned his former life and made the study of philosophy his only interest for the rest of his life. Zeno spent many years studying. He studied the famous figures such as Stilpo the Megarian, where he learned the value of holding your answers, Grader of Thebes, and Polymo. After a while, Zeno eventually set up his own school. Unlike Plato's Academy or Aristotle's Lyceum, he didn't have any money. He was broke. He got shipwrecked. Remember? So instead, he began to teach on the porches of big pillars places. It's called a stoa of the arcade in the marketplace in Athens, and from there came the famous name of his teaching, Stoicism, which is, by the way, still one of the most influential philosophy to date. Zeno would say this line pretty often: I made a prosperous voyage when I was shipwrecked. Another shipwreck mentioned. Oof. This guy's entire legacy is based on one shipwreck, and I don't mind getting into a shipwreck to be remembered for another 2 centuries. Back on the line. Have a closer look on this line. The way I see it, this particular word choosing that he chose shows just how he perceives things. And I mean, being shipwrecked is not a good experience, unless of course you're a masochist with weird kings for shipwrecks, but no, in general it would not be a good thing. Or even a prosperous one. But the fact that he can perceive such a bad experience in a good light shows just how much he is able to control his perceptions, or in other words, he understood the higher meaning of the concept of being grateful. And that is what his entire philosophy is based on. It's control. And through my own lens, I believe that he was simply trying to make people understand the logic behind the word grateful. Not literally, but beyond it. So, what is it that Zeno was trying to teach us? What is his philosophy? What is Stoicism? Well, here's the main idea of Stoicism in short by me. It is to differentiate between the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control, and choosing only to act on the things that you can control. And do keep in mind that the things that are within our control is limited only to our mind. It's limited to how we perceive things and receive things in return. But if you would like a more detailed answer, here's a quote by William R. Conley on Stoicism. It is the idea to avoid unhappiness, frustration, and disappointment through doing 2 major things. First, to control the things that are within our power, namely our beliefs, judgment, desires, and attitudes. And second, to be indifferent or apathetic to those things that are not in our power, namely things external to us. And from these 2 pretty similar explanations that me and William gave, it can be concluded that Stoicism, or the art of Stoicism, or whatever you would call it, seeks to eliminate the extremes in life, may it be good or bad. It seeks to balance out everything by gaining full control over the one thing you have control of, which is our mind. It keeps mentioning and forcing the point, not forcing, like, how do you say it? What's the word for it? I forgot the word for it. Reteaching. Oh, tired. This philosophy emphasizes on the point of control so much that it is able to elaborate it in so many different fashions, such as control over your education, influence, choice, perspective, perception, fears, joys, impulse, habits, desires, and so many other things, as long you can still draw the line on which you still have control on and which you don't have control on. Control, so many controls, right? Yeah, I mean, heck, this philosophy even believes that everything that is happening to us or has happened to us is outside of our control. So we should not be worried about it. We should not worry about it. We should just accept it and be happy for it. And this implication, this teaching that they have impacted the Roman military so much that they no longer fear death. Personally speaking, from my own experience, Stoicism has helped me so much. It helped me grow out of depression at some point in my life. At the time I was depressed, I read a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a I'm sorry for the harsh word, but that is the actual title of the book. It was written by Mark Manson and it adopted the idea of Stoicism. Like, I was so amazed by it, and I immediately applied it on my life. And so I changed from this weird boy who was trying to get approval from everyone, who's trying to please everyone, into just being the boy that doesn't really care about as many things right now, which is the me right now, this me. Like, I'm not perfect, but I think I'm happier after I applied this philosophy on my life, and it's, yeah. If I had learned about anything at all from the book of Sophie's World, it is to never be too certain of what we know. And so I must say that my explanations might be wrong, and I'm sorry for it. But do believe me when I say that this concept of Stoicism is a really good one, and it has the potential to change your life for the better. What I've discussed in this video is anything but the very tip of the iceberg, and if you're intrigued to learn more about it, you can start watching YouTube videos or Googling it. They have really good contents out there. And if you're more into a committed study, you can start by reading these books. First one would be The Daily Stoic. Second one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fire. And last one is Lives of a Stoic. Each of this book elaborates Stoicism in its own particular, unique way. Thank you very much.